Good evening. My name is Greta Chapin McGill, and I'm an author and a writer and a painter, and I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico right now. I'm going to be reading to you from my latest novel. It's called What Passes for Love. What Passes for Love is an urban tale of love and betrayal. The story of what happens in the life of attorney Lachlan Cage. How far does he go to satisfy the intense desires of sexuality, lust, power, and control? Set in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. A cast of multicultural characters overlap into a steamy triangle of illicit affairs, corporate intrigue. Follow the story of the privileged who live on the main line in Philadelphia through the planning of 2 weddings at the prestigious downtown Ritz Hotel. Darling, are we going out for dinner tonight? I want us to have something wonderful, something romantic. After all, it is Valentine's Day. And I have some surprises for you. Let's call the fish grill. Have something set up. Do you think it's too late? Melody, I would love to stay and watch you parade around in something pink and sexy. But I have a brief due in the morning and a partners meeting in the afternoon. I know it's Valentine's Day, sweetness. I want to give you this gift. Come closer to me. Lachlan loved the theater of his relationship with Melody. It was somehow a form of release for him to manipulate her in this way, to see how much of her femininity he could expose and then just shut it off, like one of those star-shaped bathroom faucets with the white enamel buttons and black letters that read hot or cold. It was part of his foreplay with himself. A gift. For that, I will come very close. You go first. I do have something for you, but I'm pouting because we cannot go out, and it looks like you're getting ready to tell me that we cannot spend any time together tonight. You knew these nights would happen. I'm sure you've seen Artemis have to work at times when your mother would have rather had him home. It's just a part of the job. Come, open this. Lachlan handed her a pink bag full of small boxes from Victoria's Secret. At the bottom of the bag was a long black velvet box with a platinum tennis bracelet inside. He sat back and watched, studying her while she opened each box with delight, waiting until she reached the bottom of the bag and discovered the black velvet box. Women were so predictable. All you had to do was show them a black velvet box, and you could be forgiven for any sin. Wait, I want you to open my gift to you right now. She reached over into her bag and took out a small box. Lackey, I want you to wear this. Now promise me for our rehearsal dinner, promise me, even if you hate it, you'll wear it. Sure, I'll wear whatever you want me to wear. He opened the box and found a spectacular pair of white gold cufflinks in the shape of the initials LC. They were tastefully embellished with diamonds. They're beautiful. I love them. I'll wear them with pride, darling. Okay, what's this? she had found the black velvet box at the bottom of the bag. Oh my God, oh baby, it's so beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much. I am so the luckiest girl in the world. Listen, one glass of champagne, then scoop. I have a ton of work to do and I've got to be fresh in the morning. I will be so glad when this going home thing is over. I know, darling, soon it will be all over and all you'll have to do is roll over and snooze when I have to go to work. This weekend we're house hunting. That's it, just clear your schedule so we can have a place for me to roll over in. The agent is going to meet me at my mother's house at 10 a.m. No excuses. Promise? I promise. He walked her to the door and kissed her lightly on her forehead before she left. Closing the door, he felt his world fall into place as his cell phone began to vibrate in his pocket. Julian, what the hell do you want? You know it's not cool for you to be calling me, especially tonight. This is not making me happy. Well, I just thought I'd see if you wanted company. Are you alone? May I please come over? We haven't been together in a long time, maybe just for some conversation. Yes, Julian. I think you're right. We need to talk. There are a few things I need you to understand. He closed the phone. He knew this confrontation was coming for a long time. Julian had turned into a jealous bitch, something he could ill afford in his life at this time. Julian had become dangerous. He was privy to a lot of salacious facts that in the wrong hands could be dangerous. Looking around the apartment, he picked up the champagne glasses, tossing the remainder of his glass down the sink. He hated champagne with a passion. It was definitely a woman's drink, bubbly and shiny. He felt alcohol should be clear and strong. There was one thing missing from his character, and that was weakness. He hated weakness, especially weak men. Men who thought just because they had a woman in bed that they were automatically virile. He was an improvement on any man. He dominated the women he knew, and he made love to the men. Lachlan went to the kitchen and pulled down his silver martini shaker and mixed himself a very dry martini. He sat down on the leather couch and waited for Julian to arrive. Julian was weak. He let his emotions become involved in places where emotion was a useless commodity. There was room in his world for a person who wanted to possess him. There was no room for someone who wanted to possess him, to lean on him, to smother him. And Julian had begun to do just that when he met Victor. TD had told him about Victor, how pliable he was, a personality that needed to be led around and explored like an interesting insect in an elegant shadow box. TD was always right. He knew Lachlan very well, and he could select a choice morsel for him to taste just for a while. The ring of the doorman interrupted his thoughts. He picked up the phone. Yes, Conrad. There's a gentleman to see you, Mr. Cage, a Mr. Sanchez. Fine, can you send him up? Lachlan gave Julian a few moments, and then he crossed the room to the front door. He could hear his footfalls in the hallway. He could hear him approach the doorway. He listened as Julian knocked softly. Lachlan turned from the door and went back to the kitchen to refresh his drink. He took the drink and sat down on the couch and waited. The timid knocking came again. Julian knew he was there. He knew he would open the door. He just didn't know when. Julian knocked 3 more times and spent 20 minutes in the hallway, wondering if he would be let in, wondering what the result of his boldness in coming to Lackland's apartment would ultimately be. Julian needed to suffer just for showing up to his private residence. Lackland sat on the couch thinking of how he wanted the evening to go before he let him in. He got up from the couch, crossed over the light pecan laminated floor, and opened the door. Julian, good evening. What brings you out tonight? Lackland had not said come in, so Julian didn't even think of crossing the threshold. I just wanted to talk to you. We haven't had a conversation in a long time. Well, may I come in? Converse? What do you have to say? Well, I came because I have someone who would like to meet you, and I just wanted to talk to you about him. He's been bugging me for an introduction for a very long time. I didn't ask you to introduce me to anyone, Julian. You're really being presumptuous by thinking I want to meet anyone. Please, Lackland, please, let me come in. Julian's pleading appealed to Lackland's weakness for the weak. All right, Julian, you may come in. Thank you. Would you like a drink? Yes, thank you. Look in the kitchen. There's a martini shaker on the counter. Julian crossed the living room into the kitchen. When he returned with his drink, he sat down on the couch and sipped it. He looked around Lackland's apartment. It was a total departure from number 64 Chester Street in Camden. Very contemporary with a touch of traditional, enough to make the decor interesting and eclectic. He noticed the photos on the sofa behind the couch on the table. In a crystal frame was a photo of Lackland with a beautiful blonde woman. He turned to Lackland. Can't we work out our differences? I mean, I'm not ready to move on. I know I can still satisfy you. Julian, listen to me. What we had was wonderful, but really you and I both know it's time for you to move on. I see someone I like better. We have no ties, no promises. It's over. Accept it. You will still be welcome at my Thursday night events. I'm not interested in meeting any of your confidants, chums, or buddies. Are we clear on your choices, Julian? Yes. Yes, I understand. No, I can accept that we need to move on. I'm sorry I bothered you. At home, really, I apologize. You can see yourself out, Julian. Julian got up and headed toward the door. He didn't look back. He knew that Lackland would frown on any lingering glances. He closed the front door behind him, walked to the elevator, and called it to his floor. He did not know what he had hoped to accomplish by coming to Lackland's house. That's how he and Lackland had gotten together. Lackland had simply dropped his previous lover and picked up Julian. Julian stepped into the elevator, pushed the button marked L. He had a slight smile on his face, thinking about the photo of the blonde woman. He knew it was Melody Hamilton. Wouldn't Lackland be surprised at who was doing his precious bride's hair?